There's no mics to sync. There's no mics.
So what's going on YouTube? Today we have a photo shoot of Texas Rangers for the second straight year. This is something that Jacqueline Bray set up. She's the wife of one of the starting pitchers for the Texas Rangers, so our pups get to be featured in the team calendar. Weather, of course, is cooperating. Could not be any better today, but we're super excited to be over there, and because of the weather, we do have to all pass. So, see you guys then.
Baby shoe.
Bucky has to come in here. He gets car sick. He already had a Dramamine this morning. But if he goes in the sprinter van, he's gonna throw up.
So glad we spent all day yesterday bathing the dogs.
As long as they're in tight, they won't move while we're driving.
Sunday! A Sunday baby!
Wait, did we do the extra things? She's dripping on you. She's peeing on you. Pee! Are you so excited?
Yeah. He looks good. Does. I mean, Timmy's been for.
Yeah.
Fine, dude. She's alright. You're gonna love this.
So
Herbs.
Kirby came to us from a networker in San Antonio, but she was initially adopted out from the Austin Animal Shelter to a homeless individual. And she kept on getting out. Story goes that apparently he was in a halfway house where they didn't allow dogs. So when he wasn't there, he would let her roam the neighborhood and being picked up. And finally, this person had picked her up for like the third time and called him and said, you know, here's your dog. And he said, I can't take care of her. You can have her. Yeah. So they ended up contacting us. So that's how we got Kirby. Yeah. And that was almost a year ago. Yeah. Yeah. So Kirby's been with us for a while and she hasn't had any traction, which makes me really sad because she's such a great dog.
She's a good bug. Bucky. Bucky, we formally adopted, 2 years ago now? I have no idea. It was a while ago. So Bucky,
from the very beginning.
Bucky was dropped off at the shelter. He had pneumonia, presenting with, a really bad upper respiratory infection. Got him to our vet. He also had distemper. Distemper, and especially a dog Bucky's age, is brutal. That was probably one of the toughest decisions we've had to make in rescue, because initially we had him at the emergency hospital, and he was declining really quick.
Well, and he wasn't doing well, so he was like thrashing at his
kennel.
Some
breeds don't do well in that environment. You can imagine Bucky went from a family to the shelter, being extremely sick, and then he comes to us, thinks he has a family again, and then he's back into an emergency hospital, but you're still in a kennel, loud environment. He spiraled, so he was going downhill really quick. They were like, guys, this doesn't look good. If you're comfortable running IV fluids at home and force feeding, doing not sauna, but steam therapy.
Yep.
You can take him home and maybe he'll do better, because right now he doesn't look like he's going to make it. So we made the decision to bring Bucky home. Force feeding him was brutal. And I know people don't really connect how hard force feeding can be. I'm not talking about shoving a pill down your dog's throat. I'm talking about prying his mouth open while he's crying and screaming and shoving food, just forcing food.
Yeah, we ended up blending food and using a syringe and putting it on the corner of his mouth, because that's the only way.
Thing. Pneumonia, distemper, not fun. We were running IV fluids, and thank God Bucky did in fact pull through. I remember we walked in one day, and we were leaving his crate open, and the room was thrashed. Bucky had, torn apart the bed. He had flipped over bowls and It's just, he decided that he felt better. So
Yeah.
Bucky pulled through, and then we formally ended up adopting him. Bucky was a really good one.
Yeah, and he's our temperament tester dog. So he's the dog that greets all of the new dogs that come into the rescue because he's just so even keel and so gentle, and he picks up on play styles and when to initiate play styles. So he's a really, really great dog. So the rescue needs him. So he's staying put.
Rosie, 10-year-old, senior pity. She was left tied up on the DART train in Dallas, brought into the shelter. Flash forward a little bit. Turns out she actually came from a rescue. The rescue was contacted, and they told the shelter that they are no longer operating, which we'll dive into later because it's absolute nonsense. You run a rescue, doesn't matter if you decide to quit, doesn't matter if you go under. The dogs you adopt out are your dogs for life, but separate conversation. Rosie's with us now. She is available for adoption. We love our senior dogs. And Rosie did great today. Could not have done better. Sue Bear.
Sue was brought into the shelter after being found in a construction site with multiple bite wounds around her neck. It was somewhere upwards in the 20 to 30 puncture wounds on her neck, down her arms. But we got her all nice and healthy, and she looks gorgeous. We call her our Platinum Sue. Don't tell her otherwise. Yeah. But she did wonderful today. She looked a little freaked out when she was picked up. Her eyes looked a little bug-eyed. So hopefully the pictures come out great. But she's an all-around great dog. Gets along with big dogs, little dogs. She just plays really rough. So, her perfect home is out there as well.
Yeah. Casey. I don't have to say much. We're going to insert the video, and you guys can decide.
I couldn't see colors, it was all in gray, till you showed me every shade. Now I feel like summer on a rainy day, like there's nothing left in my way. So if I ever lose my mind, I'll be fine, 'cause you're my silver lining. And if my world comes crashing down, I'll be fine, 'cause you're my silver lining. Yeah, you shine like a ray.
Casey was obviously very rough coming in, but young dog like that, she recovered really quick, and a phenomenal family now, with actually a family that's adopted 2 dogs from us now. They have Echo as well. Branch, similar to Bucky, not distemper, but he did have a really bad upper respiratory infection.
Well, hold on. Branch, now Jeffrey.
Okay. Branch, now Jeffrey. He had a really bad upper respiratory infection, got him right to the emergency hospital. And it did turn out it had already progressed to pneumonia, which happens a lot at the shelter. You have to remember, shelters are overcrowded, they're packed. DAS can have anywhere from 300 to 400 dogs at a time. And trying to contain upper respiratory infections can be brutal. But a young dog with pneumonia, Branch was in fairly good shape coming in. He pulled through just fine. So he's in an awesome home now as Jeffrey with Chris and Alexis Tuttle. Shout out to them. Let's see, we got Gemma. Point on Gemma.
Gemma was part of a litter of puppies that were dumped at a park in Oak Cliff. Everyone was adopted at 12 weeks old, and unfortunately Gemma has been one of our 3 returns in the last 6 years. And Gemma suffers from severe separation anxiety. And this isn't normal separation anxiety, because we've dealt with that. There's a number of dogs that unfortunately come in with separation anxiety, or
we go through,
or they've never been crated before, and there's anxiety in a crate. This is something completely different. So we are working with trainers. We actually have an appointment for a trainer / behavioralist / vet. They encompass all of the things that come along with dogs with different psychological issues that may stem from separation anxiety that may stem from psychological issues. So, but Gemma's a great dog. She's really, really sweet. She has a lot of energy. She would do great in a home where they're very active, or long distance runners. If there's anyone out there that loves to do marathons, Gemma's your girl. But she's a very sweet dog. She did great today.
Yeah, she did really good.
Yeah.
Sandy. Sandy came from the Chandler 55 situation. If you're not familiar with that, we are going to touch on it on one of the podcasts. Basically, crazy lady that was, posing as a special needs rescue. A lot of people, unfortunately, sent her dogs. There was definitely some craftiness, but better nonetheless. Sandy, and we also have Miley. nobody stepped up to take back. They found 55 dogs on her property, I believe. Some I don't think were accounted for. They found some dogs in the freezer that did not make it. So Sandy and Miley needed a rescue or a home. So we ended up taking them in, and they're both doing phenomenal. So Sandy did great today. Lots of personality. Sandy's very excited. Yeah. Miley's doing great too. She has her surgery coming up pretty soon, but she is incontinent, Miley, and that would have been a little tricky on the field, so she stayed back. Let's see,
Slurpee.
Slurpee,
Slurpee came into the shelter as a stray, but with a microchip.
10 years old.
10-year-old. They contacted the number that was on the microchip, and no one came for her. So Slurpee, from x-rays, it looks like she had a broken jaw at one point. There was nerve damage, and her tongue just kind of hangs out that way. But she's a very, very fun dog. Slurpee she's the type of dog that always wants to tell you secrets. Like, she goes up and she's like all in your ear.
All of that tongue.
All of the tongue and all of that slurpiness. But she did wonderful today. Everyone loved her. She is just a lovable dog. Once you look at her, you can't not go over and say hello to Slurpee.
No,
so
I mean,
I'm excited we
can't be
brought her.
friends.
Yeah.
Reba, who was Oakley, the shelter actually had Reba down as a male named Oakley, and they had her for like a month. Yeah, our video guy facepalm just did. But yeah, Reba was killing me. We had seen her for almost a month. We didn't have any room, like 3 straight shelter trips, and every time we saw her, just obviously, more and more depressed. We were seeing her through the kennel. So Steph has a cap on me for female shepherds because I love my female shepherds.
This house would
It's
be
not
full
Steph's favorite.
of female shepherds.
But we thought, because Reba was listed as an Oakley, looking through the kennel, that it's a male shepherd.
And I
Steph
love
likes
male
male shepherds.
I love male shepherds. So I was
So,
like, okay,
we
fine.
got Oakley outside. Oakley, squatted down to pee, and
I
Steph
literally
was
looked down. I'm like,
mother
this is a girl.
but yeah, so I got my way. Reba, we don't know much about. Came into the shelter as a stray.
Yeah.
But she's a phenomenal, just very well-tempered female shepherd. I mean, so well-tempered that Steph's even fallen in love with her.
I do love her.
She is a really, really special dog.
Timmy was brought into the shelter as a stray, I believe. So we don't have much backstory on him. But when he came in, we took him to our vet because he had a terrible upper respiratory infection as well. But also he had old draining tubes and old stitch work, and he was just a mess.
Hip had been healed, broke again, healed incorrectly.
Yeah,
Timmy's
it was,
been through
yeah, the x-rays showed like multiple different type of injuries on his lower limbs. So Timmy has been with our rescue for 6 months now because he had to recover from upper respiratory infection, then had his first FHO, recovered from that, and then had his second FHO.
An infection clear out of that hip prior or in between those FHOs. So
Yeah, so there was like a 6-week period of antibiotics just clearing out infections before we went in, and
wondered if we would have to amp the leg.
Yeah.
We were able to save it, which is sweet. I mean, our vet had some non-medical terms that I guess I won't use, but Timmy has definitely been through it, is the nice way to say it.
Well, and he's been in a foster home, and they've been phenomenal. He's there with like 6 other dogs, and he's
gonna have
great
no
with
trouble
people,
getting
great
a dog.
dog. So yeah.
Hey, Timmy.
He's so close.
Oh, boy.
Sorry, like sticking in your ear. Yeah, good boy. Do I get a home now? Look how good I do the sits. Aw,
Good boy,
that was great. Beautiful.
Good, bud. Junie. This was
Junie,
Junie's last bucket list item. June is a hospice dog. She's definitely started to go downhill. We'll dive into quality of life conversations and stuff like that on the podcast and later videos and how we assess that. But she's an overbred mama. It's unfortunate we see a lot of them where, especially breeds like her, people will just breed them and breed them and breed them. And when they can't make you money anymore, they get sick, they drop them off the shelter. It's unfortunate. We've taken in dozens of overbred mamas like that. And they're just the absolute sweetest souls on the planet. June really is a special, sweet dog.
She's wonderful.
And she's I don't know, I won't say one of the more boring bucket list items, but we've had a lot of really cool bucket list kind of hospice seniors or overbred mamas where the cancer's too far progressed to treat. And June has just wanted to love you and cuddle and sleep. She's just very easy, low maintenance. So this was a good exclamation point to her revenge tour / bucket list. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely running out of days here. She is starting to go downhill. And one thing with the hospice dogs we take in and gauge in quality of life is we're not going to let them suffer. It's better to catch it on a good day than wait too long and do it on a bad day. So it was a good day for her.
It really was.
That was the crew.
Oh, it's going pretty good. I think we got 2 pups left. Everyone's been really solid. We got to see Casey, which was really cool. We got to see Branch again, which was really cool. Timmy's doing great in his foster home, fully recovered and available for adoption. So hopefully this gets him some press so we can get some good hits for him. But so far, so good. And Reba now.
You're so excited, aren't you?
Yeah. He's all right.
Are you excited?
So anytime we get home, it's a disaster. Dogs are going crazy, excited to see us. But it's even more of a disaster on days where it was a storm and rainy and they didn't get their exercise in the morning and we've been gone for like 5 hours. Okay, we're doing good.
On the floor. I know. Who's here with the camera? What's he doing? Coming.
It's new back.
I'm famous now. Worldwide. Worldwide.
It's okay.
Come on. Well, that was fun. I think it went by too quickly, though. I wish we would have slowed down a bit. But I know they're always on a time crunch. I think right at the very end, they were doing like batting practice already. So we're going to get smacked by a foul ball if we didn't get the hell out of the way.
Yes, Andy.
Oh, we got it ready now. It'll be okay, but you never know.
You're going to shield us?
Yeah.
I'm going to check real quick. Oh. Both of you over here.
Andy, over there. Over there.
But it felt a little rushed this year, but I know their schedules are so crazy. I know. Bucky, you hate this weather, bud. Come on.
That's going to do it for today. Next video, we'll dive more into the day in the life stuff, the bodybuilding stuff, training, get some clips on camera. Today, running around, we lost quite a bit of time, and we have 30 to 40 dogs here at any given time. So we got to get back to work and start rotating, but I appreciate you guys tuning in.
Thank you so much for watching and
For that.
coming along with us. It was a fun and exciting day.
It was.
Now we're thinking of all the fun and exciting things we have to do to keep you guys entertained.
Yeah, well, we do have we do have on Monday an event at Ranger Stadium again for the on-field stuff, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy the day in the life stuff, the podcast, even some of the bodybuilding training and stuff like that, and just getting to know the dogs on a little more of an intimate level,
Right.
where we can really showcase them, because Instagram, we're capped at 90 seconds, obviously, on a lot of different things. So I'm looking forward to doing this on a consistent basis with you guys with Massive Gravity Media. Outside of that, stay tuned. We're going to be plugging out 2 videos a week here for at least the next 6 months. See how it goes. What else? Oh, don't forget, this does really help. Please subscribe, like the video, comment.
What is it?
Ring the bell. Yeah, shout out Dusty. There's a little bell if you want to be notified when new videos come out. We will have 2 a week, so if you hit the little bell icon, YouTube will let you guys know. But we appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.